What is up, everybody? I'm No Lux Given here with your afternoon snap, and in today's video we're going to take a look at two cool interactions with Kang that you may have never seen before. Kang is a really complicated card that you'll want to know all of the ins and outs of so you can make the most of him. And what gets tricky this game is Maximus plus Maria Hill fills up my hand entirely. And most people know that if you play Kang on the turn that you draw him, then you'll get to draw another card deeper into your deck. But the other way that you can make use of Kang here is if your hand is full at the start of the turn, then you won't be able to draw. You'll have a full hand, so you can just dump Kang out of your hand for free, rewind the turn, and then you'll have an additional card when that turn restarts. You can see we've got 6 cards in our hand currently, with Squirrel Girl being the last of them. My opponent plays a Polaris, so we do get a little bit of information here as well, and then we will rewind the turn, and when we do so, we will have a 7th card in our hand. And if it's Galactus, that could be pretty cool. It's gonna be Death though. That's what we're gonna have. So for this game, I'm just going to play Professor into Vormir. I feel like my opponent, especially on a wave turn, is pretty unlikely to play into Vormir themselves, so Professor should be able to win that location, and this works out pretty well for us, I think. My opponent winds up dropping a Serra, which would typically be pretty good off of a wave. However, they don't have that much room with the Raptors from the Savage Land and Professor X locking down that center location. And from here, it's pretty trivial to win the game. We just have to play a Spider-Man into one of these 2 locations, and then we'll be able to win that location on the final turn. And we have Daredevil Sight as well to see exactly where we need to play that. My opponent is going to wind up dropping the Polaris over into the X-Mansion, so I don't want to play Spider-Man there, then I will have filled up that location. So I'm just going to drop Spidey into the Savage Land, and from there I can snap. I know I'm going to draw America as my final card of the game, and that will allow us to grab a win in the Savage Land where my opponent is unable to play, and of course we've already won in Vormir, and that is enough for my opponent to retreat. Here's another example of basically that exact same thing, this time with Olympia, giving us those additional 2 cards instead of Maximus. So our hand is currently maxed out now, and TVA is that center location. So we don't have too much time to play this game. However, Kang is going to give us just the time that we need. Project Pegasus is the 3rd location, and my opponent snaps, but that snap isn't really going to matter. We are going to drop a Kang this turn. We just have to make sure that that Kang doesn't get Cosmoed, and I'm going to snap back. Maybe put the pressure on my opponent a little bit as well. So let's Kang, see what they have got going on, and as you can see, we were unable to draw a card this turn. We've got 6 cards in hand right now, with Wave being the last one, and Kang will then rewind the turn and allow me to redraw yet again. My opponent plays a White Queen, stealing our Death, a Mr. Fantastic, and a Nightcrawler, at least for the first attempt of the turn here. So we're going to rewind that back, and then you'll see we draw a Daredevil. On this second chance for turn 3, I'm going to drop Wave and Professor X. My opponent is going to play the exact same cards, just 2 slightly different locations here, and I'm just basically hoping to draw Galactus at this point, but it's really, really good odds to do so. We've drawn 2 additional cards from Olympia, 1 additional card from Kang, and then we still have America in the deck that's thinning it a little bit. So we are able to draw Galactus this turn, and we're also basically playing around, well, a lot of different things here. My opponent can't use Arrow because we locked down the TVA with Professor X, and they also can't use like Magneto or Polaris to continue to move around our cards. If they had Hobgoblin, it would have gotten me here, but they don't have it, so we are able to destroy those other locations with Galactus, including TVA, which means now we've got 2 more turns to play this game. We'll be able to Spider-Man in Olympia on turn 5, and then drop Death and America for the final turn. Actually, we can even drop Death, just drop Null. We'll drop Null on the final turn. That seems pretty good to me. Spider-Man will lock it down here, and I'll jump ahead so that we can see my opponent retreated. Here is one other cheeky way to play Kang. Did you know that you can use it to see which Mysterio clone is the real one? We are currently winning in Monster Metropolis with Professor X. Maybe. We're winning if that is a Mysterio clone, but we are losing in that location if that is the real Mysterio. And there's no real way to know where the Mysterio is until I draw Kang. What I can do this turn is Spider-Man, locking my opponent out of Muir Island, and from there I will win Muir Island, and I'm definitely going to lose in Asgard. My opponent has committed a bunch of stuff to that location, and now they're all done in Muir Island. So we're going to win that location. The only thing is I don't know if we've already won or already lost in the Monster Metropolis. So I'm going to use Kang to test the waters. I'll drop Kang on the final turn of the game, and if my opponent stays in it and lets this Kang play out, well, then I've lost the game. That means that the Mysterio clone is already in Monster Metropolis, and there's nothing that I can do. And that actually winds up being the case here, and if my opponent retreated, then I would have known that Professor X was winning in the Metropolis. So Kang lets me know that I should just retreat. That's gonna be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'm No Lux Given. Peace.